Hello and welcome to ERi-TV English News Broadcast viewers. We are now ready for our domestic and international news for Monday, the 17th of March. Reporting live from our headquarters in Asmara and inviting you to stay with us is Heaven Johannes, your news anchor for this session. Let's begin with the major headlines. Mr. Ates Mikhail addresses 69th Commission on the Status of Women. Sign language training for teachers. "51 dead after North Macedonia nightclub fire." And Lavrov and Rubino discuss next steps in restoring Russia-US ties. In today's domestic news, an Eritrean delegation led by Mr. Ates Mikhail, President of the National Union of Eritrean Women, is participating in the 69th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, currently underway in New York from 10 to 21 March. During the session, countries and women's organizations are reviewing progress on the Beijing Plus 30 goals, which focus on ensuring political, economic, and technological opportunities for women. Addressing the session, Mr. A emphasized that the Beijing Declaration remains one of the most pivotal global commitments, not only in advancing the rights of women and girls, but also in fostering more inclusive and progressive societies. Mr. A highlighted that, much like during the colonial era, global economic structures remain unjust, exploitative, and extractive, enriching a select few in the global north while impoverishing the poorest nations. She stresses that the diversion of vital resources away from education, healthcare, and economic opportunities for women and girls significantly hampers efforts to promote gender equality. Mr. A further stated that across Africa, conflicts often driven by external interference have devastated economies, fractured communities, and left women and children bearing the heaviest burdens. Without genuine global cooperation to prevent and resolve conflicts, achieving gender equality will remain a distant dream. Mr. A also pointed out that women's rights are often selectively weaponized to justify punitive measures against certain governments, while the suffering of many women, particularly those affected by conflict, frequently fails to generate the level of outrage necessary to drive real solutions. Regarding Eritrea's stance on women's rights, Mr. A stated that the struggle for gender equality in Eritrea was born within the National Liberation Movement for Independence. It was neither granted nor negotiated, rather it was achieved through sacrifice and determination. Eritrean women fought alongside their male counterparts, not just as supporters, but as fighters and leaders. Their participation was not symbolic, it was fundamental to the success of the liberation movement. Noting that Eritrea has made significant progress in advancing women's rights and participation across all sectors, Mr. A reaffirmed that legal reforms have ensured equal rights in marriage, employment, and property ownership. Women in Eritrea can inherit, own land, and make independent economic decisions. She restated that education initiatives have led to gender parity, with a particular focus on rural areas, while investments in healthcare have resulted in a 70% reduction in maternal mortality. Women play a vital role in the economy, actively engaging in small businesses, agriculture, and trade, supported by microfinance and skills training programs. Additionally, Eritrean women hold key leadership positions at both national and local levels, ensuring that their voices influence policies and national development. Concluding her remarks, Mr. A affirmed that Eritrean women remain vigilant and committed to continuous improvement, determined to achieve the progress they aspire to and rightfully deserve. At the sideline of the session, the delegation is actively engaged in explaining the stance of Eritrea in equal opportunities and participation of Eritrean women. In another news, the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students branch at Sawa and Warsai Kaalo School has provided a 3-month sign language training program for 56 teachers. Mr. Kaseta Gebra-Aman, head of political and organizational affairs of the union branch, stated that the training was part of the ongoing vocational training programs aimed at enhancing the overall capacity of the youth and college students. He also noted that in the past academic year, sign language and Arabic language training was provided to 71 teachers. Meanwhile, the head of culture and health at ERi-TV school, Mr. Toshome Mahari, urged the trainees to apply their newly acquired skills to improve the lives of hearing-impaired citizens and to pass on their knowledge to others. This wraps up our domestic news for this session. Dear viewers, we'll be back with the international ones after the short break. Welcome back. At least 50 people have been killed and more than 100 injured in a nightclub fire in North Macedonia, where as many as 1,500 were said to have been attending, reported stated yesterday. Interior Minister Pans Tosovsky said that according to initial reports, the fire started from sparks caused by pyrotechnic devices. He told reporters that sparks hit the ceiling made of highly flammable material before the fire spread through the club. He also said some arrests had been made. The country's prime minister called it a difficult and very sad day for the country, which has now lost so many young lives. The hospital in Kokani initially reported 90 admissions, with many suffering severe burns. Some of the injured have since been transferred to hospitals in Skopje for further treatment. It is reported that out of similar disasters in North Macedonia, this has caused a hefty amount of human lives. In another news, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio held a phone call with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Saturday as U.S. and Russia work to restore bilateral relations and advance negotiations for a Ukraine ceasefire. The phone conversation between the senior officials comes amid a thaw in relations following years of tensions over the Ukraine conflict. According to a statement from the U.S. State Department, Rubio and Lavrov discussed steps to re-establish direct communication between the two countries. They also discussed next steps to follow up on recent meetings in Saudi Arabia and agreed to continue working towards restoring communication between the United States and Russia. The officials also talked about stopping the war in Ukraine and working on the initiations for maintaining peace there. It is known that the two countries' relations have heavily decreased to its lowest due to the war in Ukraine. At least 34 people have died in the United States, including 12 in Missouri alone, after deadly tornadoes tore through several southeastern states, flipping cars and flattening homes. In Kansas, at least 8 people died after more than 55 vehicles were involved in a crash due to a dust storm. More than 250,000 properties were without power across 7 states, including Michigan, Missouri, and Illinois, overnight into Sunday, according to Trucker Power Outage. Further severe weather is expected for the region, with tornado watches issued across eastern Louisiana, western Georgia, central Tennessee, and the western Florida. 6 deaths were reported in Mississippi as several tornadoes spread across the state. Flash flooding and flood warnings have also been issued in central Mississippi, eastern Louisiana, and western Tennessee, as well as parts of Alabama and Arkansas, as severe weather continues to track across the southeast. The National Weather Service has said these flash floods could prove deadly. Multiple tornado warnings were also issued across Alabama on Saturday night. With this, we conclude our news for this session. Dear viewers, time for a quick recap of the major headlines. Mr. Atasfami Kyle addresses 69th Commission on the Status of Women. Sign language training for ERi-TV teachers. "51 dead after North Macedonia nightclub fire." And Lavrov and Rubio discussed next steps in restoring Russia-US ties. This was the World on Monday with ERi-TV English News Broadcast. Dear viewers, thank you for joining. It's officially a goodbye from us.